So let's just start to warm up the spine a little bit. You can sit in a cross-legged position. You can sit up on something, whatever is most comfortable for you. Take a moment to just kind of settle into yourself. And again, for today's practice, band and weights are optional. Go ahead and take the hands onto the knees. Take an inhale and arch the spine forward and open the chest. And then as you exhale, round back. Inhaling and press it forward, open the heart. Exhaling and round it back. 2 more like that. Arch and open, exhale and round. And one last time, pulling it forward and then pulling the belly button back to really start to engage those abdominals. Good, and then from here, take the arms up. Take a side stretch over towards the right. And really kind of just reach those fingertips. Keep the left hip connected down to the ground. And then coming back up. And then we'll take it over to the other side. And then coming back up, both arms reach up. Let's just find some twists. So taking it over to the right and twisting over in this direction. Inhale up. Exhale, twist over to the left. 2 more on either side, lifting up and exhaling. And coming up and exhaling. So again, just kind of, this is a nice way of getting that movement through the spine. It's also a nice way of starting to link up your breath. One last time. And exhale. Good. And then from here, coming to mermaid legs. So you can think 90 degrees here. Okay, one through the front, one in the back. And from here, we're just going to start to warm up and kind of start to activate the obliques. So I'm going to come down. Both sides of my hips are down. I'm going to come down to my hands, twisting through the center and letting my chest, my heart come between the shoulders. And then I'm going to inhale, lift up, and twist. And then coming back and bringing it down. What you want to avoid is that kind of push off, right? You want to really use your obliques here to lift and hover and bring it around. And then coming back. Let's go for 3 more times, coming around. All right, so you're really bringing out that towel as you come down. And then coming up and twist, 2. And exhaling, and last one. Good. Now from here, we're going to start to open up into the hip socket to warm it up for when we were doing our lunge work and things like that, not to give anything away. All right, so now from here, you can keep your arms out to the sides. You can interlace the hands behind the back of the head. If you need a little extra balance, the right hand will come out to the side. Okay, we're working with the left hip. Hands can also be on the waist, which is where I'm going to go. I'm going to lift up, place that foot forward, and then coming back, open that knee, and take it out to the side. So thinking about this as mobilizing through the whole hip joint. We're coming up, bringing it over, coming back up, and back down. Good, so if I was going to modify this, I'd have my hand down here, and just the lightest touch, right? Your glute is definitely working, but you're also getting a full rotation through that hip. And one last time. And coming back. Good. And then from here, take it back out to that mermaid leg position. You don't want to have your feet stacked, right? You want to make sure that you can stay back on both of your sit bones. Take the hands behind the back of the head. Lengthen up. Take an inhale and an exhale. We're going to lean, lean, lean. Keep pressing that left hip down and bring it back up. So we're trying to come out long through both sides, like a little strings attached to the crown of the head, and lifting up and bringing it back. Exhaling, let's go for 3 more like this. And 2. Exhaling, and last one. Good, and then go ahead and release. Let's take it over to the other side. Again, mermaid legs. Good, and then from here, we started with this one, right? We're gonna come down, both hands come down, I'm lowering down, and I'm kind of stretching through the side of the waist. You should feel that, depending on how tight you are. Elbows are bent slightly, and then I'm going to lift up and take it around, and then coming back, and then pulling it up, and take it around. So think about this, right? We really want to kind of geek out on the specificities of it. So in terms of explosive movements, this isn't really explosive. I will give you explosives later. Exhaling in last one. We're just making sure that all of the little baby muscle groups that support everything else know what they're up to today, okay? Then the hands can be out here, they can be behind the back of the head, they can be on the waist, or the hand can come out for a little extra support. And then from here, we're gonna take this right leg, hover it, bring it around, and sit. And bring it back, and open. And coming around. Right, so now if you need to adjust this range of motion, if this feels a little too intense, hand comes down, right? And make sure each time you arrive back onto the sit bones, right? So you're not leaning into it. You're still pressing in here to really get into how the leg moves in the hip socket. And last one. Good. And then holding that mermaid position, taking the hands behind the back of the head, lengthening up, and then leaning. Lean, 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 and then pull it back up for 5. Exhaling 4. And 3. Exhaling 2. And last one. Good, and releasing. Good. Then roll out through the shoulders. We're gonna come to stand up. Okay, and make sure that your theraband is handy if you're using it. Again, you don't have to. And just rolling through the spine a couple of times. Interlace the hands behind the back of the head, make a hammock for your head, let the elbows roll forward, soften through the knees, and slowly start to round and roll yourself down. Exhaling, 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 making sure weight is even through the front and the back of the foot. Keep the hands behind the back of the head. Give yourself a little pull there to release the neck, and then slowly round and roll yourself back up. All the way up to stand. 2 more like that. And rounding, softening the knees and coming down. Weight even forward and back. And one last time, and rounding, rounding, rounding. Good, and then really bend into your knees, bring your torso towards your thighs, start to send the sit bones up. You're gonna get a nice stretch through the back of the legs as well. And then from here, go ahead and round, roll yourself up, keeping the feet parallel like this. Pull the belly button in, press the pelvis forward, and start to open the heart up towards the ceiling. So again, the elbows are cradling your head, leaning up towards the ceiling to open up that upper back. One more inhale, and one more exhale. Great. And now, if you're using your theraband, go ahead and grab it. Otherwise, you're just going to bring the feet, let's say, outer hip distance apart. Okay, so outer hip distance means the pinky toes are lined up with the sides of your hips, okay? The thumbs are going up towards the ceiling like you're holding an ice cream cone. Summertime, why not? Okay, so bend the knees. They'll come slightly forward, but not so much. More interesting is if you bring your butt back in space. Good, sitting low, and then exhaling as you push into all 4 corners of your feet, let the arms come down. So you're pulling up, you're bending at the elbows as you lower down. And then bringing it back up. Good, with control. Let's go for 5 more. Keeping the knees tracking here. And then coming back up. So you're lengthening, right, through the arms as your legs straighten. Let's go for 2. Keep the belly button pulled in. Keep the back in neutral, exhaling. Last one. Good. So now from here, pull the belly button and keep that tailbone tucked. You're going to lower down 2 inches. Come up 1 inch. Good. Now from here, lower down another 2 inches. Come up a 1/2 inch. Good. Now from here, lift up 1 inch. And then coming back. So what is up with this, right? So I want you to keep on going like that, right? Just kind of alternating or changing how low you lower and how high you come up so that you're fooling your body. You don't just end up kind of being in a bounce, right? Just in that kind of repetitive movement. I want you to really think about how low you come, right? And kind of play with that movement. Let's go for 3. And 2, and last 1, and then bring it all the way up. Roll through the shoulders, take a little breather here. Now from here, step your feet together. And again, if you don't have the band, you're just miming it, not a big deal, right? It just gives us a little bit more feedback. We're gonna bend into kind of like a chair pose, like a yoga chair pose. As you take, I'm going to bend and reach over to the right side with the right arm, and the left arm will come forward. And then I'm going to press up through center and exhale, take it over to the other side. So my knees stay forward. Exhaling, my hips go back. And by forward, I mean they don't twist, right? I'm twisting from the waist. Exhaling. Coming back. My booty's going back. Good. And then you're also following, if it's okay in your neck, you're following and looking back as it comes back. Let's go for 3. And 3. Exhaling 2. And 2. Exhaling 1. And 1. Good. Roll out through the shoulders, release the neck from side to side. Okay, so now take your left foot, step it back into a natural step back. So you're not going to go so wide into so you got to stretch in the hip flexor, right? You want to have about, how much distance is that? I don't know, like 1.5 feet, 2 feet, okay? And then from here, bend into both knees. That front knee is going to be just a little forward of the ankle, but not jutting out, okay? And then that back knee, we're trying to bring the shin to parallel. So the heel is lifting, and by parallel, it's not really a parallel, it's at a diagonal, okay? And then from here, you're gonna take your arms forward and bend it in, and bend it in. The back leg is working like crazy, so keep that heel lifted. Again, you could also just use hand weights here. You should start to feel that quiver in the front hip. 2 and 1. Now, option to stay with that heel down or lift that heel. Okay? And if you have the heel lifted, well, regardless, okay? The heel lifted is definitely more intense. You'll definitely feel more of a quiver. Arms are going to come out. Exhale and pull out to the sides. And pull out. And pull out. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, exhaling 2, and 1. Good, go ahead and step forward. Good, and then just from here, release the neck from side to side. Let's do the other side. So the left foot is forward, the right foot steps back behind you, okay? Your hips are squared forward as though you're on railroad tracks, okay? Then a bend so that you're engaging through that front leg and through the back. Heel is lifted, okay? So we're starting like this. Turn the palms forward, reach the torso forward, and then we're just gonna do some kickbacks. Exhaling and press back. Keep the knees tracking. If you're not feeling this through the glutes, it means sit a little further back. Also, the quads are definitely working. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, up to you. You can lift that heel or keep it down. And then from here, let's go back of the biceps. Turn the thumbs up towards you and pulling in for 10, 9, 8, 7. Bring the shoulder blades together. Open the chest. 5, 4, 3. Exhaling 2 and 1. Good. And then stepping it forward. Take the arms out into a V. Let yourself just stretch to one side. Let yourself stretch to the other side. And just back and forth a few times. Make sure you're staying open. Okay. Separate the feet out inner hip distance apart. That means that your knees are in line with your sit bones. Okay. And then from here, turn the thumbs down. We're going to pull into a row. And you can do this with weights. You could do this with pretend weights or anything you wanted. You could just kind of mime it. Okay, so again, we're going to go back into the squats because squats are so delicious for us. We're going to bend out, sitting back. The belly button's pulled in. And then coming back, exhaling. Pull and keep the knees tracking. Keep that lower oblique action going. So the belly button's still pulled into the spine. The lower back is not booty out, right? I'm going to keep it kind of tucked under. And pulling wide, wide, wide. If you need more, right, just walk your hands down. Exhaling, let's go for 5, 3, 4, 3. That's just perfect proof that Pilates teachers can't count, right? 2. Exhaling, last one. I'm going to hold here. All right. And then from here, I'm going to try and change nothing else. I'm just going to lift the heels, lower the heels, lift the heels, lower the heels. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten out. Release the neck from side to side. Take your band with you if you have it. We're going to commute down onto the floor and put the band off to the side. So I mentioned before, you can use weights as well. I prefer 2s or 3s. I have 3s today. Waiting for the 2s to come back in stock on Amazon. Okay, so we're going to set ourselves up onto the forearm. Now you have a couple of options here. My elbow is right underneath my shoulder. We're just going to take that option, right? The knees are slightly forward. Now, you can either lift that bottom hip up or you can keep it down. You're going to be holding onto a weight or nothing, right? But the top arm is going to reach into alongside your ear, and then we're crunching it in, elbow to knee. Okay, so if you're lifted up, you're here, pulling it in for 7. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, exhaling 2, exhaling last 1. Good. Now bring that foot, arm can reach up alongside your ear or up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift and lower. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Nicely done. Let's take it over to the other side. Propping up onto the forearm. Knees are stacked slightly in front of you. Top leg will extend from there so that your hips are measured out correctly. The top hand comes up. You're either just pulling in like this, or you're pressing up and bringing it in. Let's go for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, exhaling 2, exhaling last 1. Hold, lift and lower. 2 and 1, and bring it down. Good, take a little breather here, rolling it out through the shoulders. Okay. Take your weights out to the side. let's start. If you're using the theraband, this is how you're going to set it up. I'm placing it around the ball of the right foot. If you're not using it, don't worry about it. I feel like I keep on having to excuse it every single time, but yeah, just so you know, all of the exercises you can do without the theraband. Okay, so now I've gathered it up into my right hand, and I'm placing the right hand right underneath my shoulder and my left hand underneath my left shoulder. Okay, now if this is too much, ditch the theraband completely and just come onto the forearms or place your forearms on an ottoman. Now from here, go ahead, keep everything very still, push the right leg back behind you. And then coming back, push it out. Maybe you keep that knee hovered. Now, if this up here is too aggressive in the lower back, you're aiming a little lower. Let's go for 5. Exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding. Can you extend that left arm out? Breathing here, 3 more breaths. And last one. Good, and releasing. Good, sit back towards your heels. Take a little breather. You can let that theraband kind of just relax out to the side. We're still on hands and knees. Go ahead and grab hold of your weight in the right hand now. And then we're going to bend that elbow in, kick it back behind you for 10 and 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, take the elbow in line with the shoulder, palm facing down, and then we're pressing it out for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, woo, let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and take a little breather, release the weight. Okay, let's do that on the other side. So, gathering yourself up, taking that theraband around the left foot, taking it into the left hand forward, and then pressing it back. So if you've ever been in one of my jump classes, this is like when we're on the forearms and we're on the jump board, pressing out, pushing out. And for those not in the know, that's the jump board on the reformer. Let's go for 5. And ask me about it later if you're interested in trying it. 2. Last one. Hold it. Keep the hips squared. Arm reaches forward for 5 breaths. Make sure you're not dumping through the shoulders. 2. And last 1. Bring that hand down. Bring that knee down. Take a little breather. Moving that theraband out to the side now. Or you could keep it where it was. Grabbing hold of the weight in the left hand. Knees are underneath you, in line with your hips for the most maximum support. Bending the left arm, elbow behind you, and pressing out. Very simple, right? We're bringing the shoulder blades together. Belly button is tight. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend it in. Take the elbow out to the side, palm facing down. Press it out for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. You should feel the side of your waist. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bring that weight down. Sit back towards your heels. Take a little stretch here. Good. Let's roll ourselves up. Come to sit towards the front of your mat. Theraband is going to come around the feet, okay? And then the thumbs are gonna press in towards each other. We're gonna start to scooch it back a little bit. You can push your legs out, okay? Now from here, we're gonna do roll downs with a focus on the obliques. So I want you to start in center, come onto the sit bones, go over towards the right hand comes down, the left arm comes up, and then we're gonna roll down, 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 down. Come back through center. Now, peel yourself up on the right side. So I feel the right side of my spine as if the left side is lifting, and then I'm lifting up, 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 up. Other side. Left arm comes down, right arm comes out. I find that twist, and I'm lowering. Coming back through center. So I'm trying to keep my pelvis even, and then twisting from the waist up. Coming up and lifting up. Over to the other side. Rolling it down, 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 coming through center, taking it up, and lifting. Good, over to the other side. Find that lean as you reach it back. Both sides of the hips even. Head comes down to reset, then I find that opening up and bringing it back up. One more time to each side. So I'm pulling it out, I'm finding that lean and coming back. And then coming back and then lifting up and pulling yourself back up. Good, one last time over to the left. Come through center. We're coming out and leaning, 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 leaning. Release, and then coming and find that reach back up. Good, and then from here, go ahead and fold over your legs. Take a little breather. Good. Holding on to the theraband, go ahead. We're going to slowly just rock ourselves all the way down. Bend the knees in, okay? You're going to sink your elbows and the backs of the arms onto the mat. So you're holding your ice cream cones towards you, okay? And reposition, get that theraband onto the ball/arches of the feet. You can play with the tension as well. So I'm going to press my upper arms down, closing the rib cage, and then I'm just pushing the legs away. Push with the heels and bring it back in. Again, keep the tailbone down, keep the back in neutral, keep pulling that diamond shape in the front of the body. Those are your TA muscles. All right, keep engaging in through the sides. Let's go for 4. And 3. Exhaling 2. And last 1. Now, bend the knees in, remove your left foot, bring the heels to touch, so it's just around the right foot. The heels are together, the toes are apart, that's making a diamond shape through the knees. Take hold of the theraband in just the left hand, that's going to stop it from getting caught on your knee. Keep your heels pressing together and exhale and push out. And coming back in. Exhaling and push out. And coming back in. Keep going. Try to keep it even. So notice if the feet want to kind of go to the left side. 2. Exhaling. Last 1. Good. Place the left foot in. Take your right foot out. Bring the heels to touch. Switch which hand. So now it's in the right hand. We're just using it to stabilize. The left arm can stay down by your sides. Exhaling and push out. And bringing it back in. Exhaling and push out. Let's go for 5. Exhaling 4 and 3. Exhaling 2. And last 1. Good. Bend it in. Let's take that theraband just around the right foot. Extend that left leg long, making an L shape here. Okay, if it's too much, the left knee bends, but I want both sides of the hips to be even, and then just a leg circle. So I'm holding it let's hold it in both hands actually so we keep it even, okay? So the upper body stays even. We're moving the right leg around in the socket for 7, 6, turn the ice cream cones in towards you, 5, 4, think about it as stirring through here. Let's go for 3, 2, change direction, coming up and over. 6, let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend that knee in. Place the left foot in the theraband. All right, you can again do this without the theraband. It's harder. L shape. If you can't make that L shape, bend the right knee. And we're drawing that circle. Good. Especially if you're doing most of your workouts at home still, right? Therabands, and I'm not a paid endorser. They're one of the cheaper and more versatile and space-saving ones you can use. And I changed direction, by the way, as I was talking about that. Let's go for 5. Exhaling 4. Strongly recommend. 3. And not that any of us are traveling. Well, maybe we're starting to travel, right? Easy thing, so you never miss a Pilates workout, even on the road, okay? So now from here, both feet are going to come into the theraband. Start with the knees in line with the hips. Now, turn the toes over to the right. I'm keeping my whole upper body down, okay, but the left hip is lifting. I'm going to exhale and push out, and then coming back. If you notice, I could go a little lower than I could if I didn't have the theraband. I'm going to take it over to the left, shoulders are down, and I'm lowering, so I'm getting really into the lower obliques, coming back in. Over, roll through center, and over to the right, and coming back, and coming over to the left, and pressing out. Good. So now, if it's comfortable for you, maybe the head lifts and you do the same thing. Any pressure in the neck, bring it down. Keeping the shoulders down, everything's happening from the waist, okay? And the head lifting is closing that space a little bit more, making it a little tighter. And coming back and over to the other side. Let's do 2 more to each side. And coming back. Good. 1 more time to each side. And also the other thing about having the support with the theraband, and then coming back. Good, and releasing. You get a bigger range of motion. You can start to play with the harder edge for you, like wherever your edge is. It can give you enough support that it can you can start to change those exercises up. How are we doing on time? All right, good. We're doing fabulously on time. Take the band. We're going to do some nice glute work here with our bridges. Take my hands down by my sides, palms facing down. So you can kind of create how much tension you need here. If you would like to make it more challenging, just make that theraband a little tighter, okay? And then from here, exhale and start to lift the hips up. And then coming back down. So play around with it. You might choose to hold and create a little bit more tension that way too, depending on how tight your band is. And then coming back. Exhaling, let's go for, how many more should we go for? Let's go for 3 more, or 7 more. Whoa, we just did 3. Exhaling, let's go for 7. Exhaling, 6. And 5. Exhaling, 4. 3. 2. And 1. Lift the hips up. Arms come up in line with the shoulders. If you need to take a break, drop your hips down for a moment. Okay, staying right here. Nothing moves with the hips. Take your right hand forward, left hand back. Coming back through center, and then the other side. Coming back, exhaling. Keep lifting up. Both sides of the waist even. We're trying to make like robot arms so it's not pulling out to the sides too much. All right. They stay tracking in line with the shoulders. Good. One more time. The right goes forward. Take that nice stretch. Coming back. The left goes forward. Good. Now holding on to this. Let your hips come. I don't know if you can see this in the camera. I'm not pressing down. I'm lifted. Okay, so even if my bum is touching the floor, I want it to touch the floor, depending on the size of your booty. Maybe it's lifted a little bit higher than that, right? But you're keeping everything engaged, so you're not falling down, if you can see that. Okay, now hold that. It's going to be quivering. It should be quivering. Keep pulling through that center line. Start to pull the arms away from each other. Keep that lower half active, right? All of this full body stuff today. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. Now keep it wide. Keep the pinkies pulling apart. We're taking it overhead and forward. Coming back and forward. Let's go for 5. Exhaling, 4, 3, 2, and last 1. Good. And releasing the heels, or the butt comes down completely. Hug the knees into the chest. Release the neck from side to side. Go ahead and roll yourself up, or come to the side, press yourself up. We're going to do some plank work. Okay. So again, actually no one's going to be using props now. Okay. First, let's start with the hands underneath the shoulders. Find your plank. Bring the heels together and the toes apart. Okay. Now from here, bend the knees, sit yourself back, lunge it forward. Launch it forward, I should say. Send it back, open the knees wide, and then press it forward. Let's go for 5. Exhaling, 4, 3, 2, and last 1. Let the knees come down, sit back towards your heels, take a little stretch. Good. So I'm setting my little timer here, okay, for a forearm plank. So go ahead and set yourself up. You want to have about a forearm distance between the hands. Interlace the fingers, or you can press the palms down. Bring yourself into your forearm plank. Reach the crown of the head, push through the heels. Keep the quadriceps engaged. You can wrap everything through that center line. The back of the neck is long so the head's not falling forward. Keep pushing through the heels. Keep pushing into the forearms to lift up. You're trying to bring your chest between your shoulder blades. If at any point you need to kind of bring this down a notch, let the knees drop down, take a rest. Breathing here. Otherwise, we're just working on holding and stabilizing. I don't know if anyone did that plank challenge that was circulating around the interwebs. It's very, I think I lasted maybe like half the time, and then I just kind of got bored and started doing other stuff. But it's good to work up on this stuff, right? Keep reaching through the crown of the head. Keep pushing through the heels. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down. Sit back towards your heels. Take a little breather. Good. And then from here, release the neck from side to side. We got, well, we'll do a couple more variations. Coming up onto your forearms again. Start in a downward facing dog. So down dog is like an upside down V, pressing the torso towards the thighs. Now, roll to seal the feet over. So my hips are coming over towards the left. Okay? And then from here, I'm going to shift forward into kind of like a forearm plank, side plank rather, and then coming back. I'm going to take it over to the other side, letting the heels drop down, bringing it forward, pike it back, over from side to side. And then coming up, and reaching, coming up, and over. One more time over to the left. And one more time over to the right. Good, and then I'm going to let my knees drop down. I'm going to rest back into a child's pose, taking a little breather here, letting the forehead release from side to side. Good, and then from here I'm going to roll myself back up. I'm going to grab hold of my weights. I'm going to come to lie down back onto my back. Tailbone is heavy. Neutral spine. Okay, let's just use one of the weights. I'm going to place it in the left hand. The right hand comes behind the back of the head. My tailbone is even on either sides of my hips. Take an inhale here. Exhale, and I'm going to lift that hand up and outside of the knee and coming back. Exhaling and lifting up, keeping both sides of the hips even. Good. Keep it going. Exhaling and lift, keeping that back in neutral so I'm not crunching down. Good. Let's go for 3. Exhaling 2. Exhaling, and last one. I'm holding here, and then I'm going to pulse it up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back down. Taking hold of the weight in the other hand. Goodbye, Kato. Hands behind the back of the head. All right, the right arm lifts up. Tailbone is heavy. Take an inhale and exhale. I'm reaching up and over, keeping my knees through center, and then coming back. Shoulders come back down at the same time. Coming back up. Good. Keeping both sides of the waist. Kind of lifting up as I come up. Good. Let's go for 4. Exhaling 3. And 2. Exhaling, last one. I'm holding up, and then I'm going to pulse it up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then releasing, and then just letting the knees go from side to side. Windshield wiper them out. We're going to do a little deep stretch sequence to end this sucker. Don't skip your stretching. All right, so from here, bend the right knee in towards you. Let the left leg extend long. Start to make some circles here. And then go ahead, changing direction of the circles. Coming back through center. Take hold of the back of the thigh. Interlace the fingers and drop that knee in towards your chest. And try to pull here, okay? Start to straighten, that right leg away from you, okay? And then at a certain point, I mean, maybe some of you guys are gonna be like up and the leg is over, but at a certain point, we kind of push away to get that leg completely straight. And then bending to bring it back in. Hips are even, exhaling, and I'm gonna press it up. And bringing it back in. And last one, I'm pressing it up. And then I bend it back in. Good. Take your right or your left hand onto your left hip. Take your right hand onto the right knee. Open it out to the side. Why is my left hand on my left hip? To ensure this doesn't happen. Of like, oh, look, my knee came down. No, I'm pushing my hip down, so I'm more interested in opening it out from the side. Good. And then extend that leg out. Go ahead and bend the left knee in towards you. Drop it into the hip socket. Press out the lower back here. You can start to draw some circles in one direction. And then drawing circles in the other direction. Make that little hammock on the back of the thigh. Pull it in towards the chest, making a nice little tight hold. And then start to straighten that leg out and away from you. And bringing it back in. And again, taking it out. And back in. And last one. Good. Then I bend, I take my right hand onto my right hip, left hand out to the side, and I just open it up. Good, and then as you're ready, bending both knees in, just rock yourself up to a seated position. Soles of the feet will come together. Take your hands alongside of your hips, pressing up. Roll forward to the sit bones, find that arch in the lower back, pressing the hips forward and the heels back to open up through the inner thighs and through the hips themselves. You can stay up just like this, or taking the hands down, letting yourself just release here. And you can let your head be heavy. Breathing into the lower back. Walk your hands over to the right. Stretching out through the side body. Walk your hands over to the left. Good, and then coming back in. Hey, sweetheart. Go ahead, we're gonna bring ourselves up to a standing position. Take your hands up and pull your belly button in and round and fold yourself over your legs. Let yourself release from side to side, so swaying in one direction and then the other. It can feel nice to hold on to opposite elbows here. Let the weight rock towards the toes and just feel how that kind of stretches out the glutes. Let it rock back towards the heels. Kind of goes in the lower back, right? Going forward and back, forward and back. Interlace the hands behind the back of the head and give your neck a little pull forward. Bringing your torso towards your thighs again, just the way we started, right? So pressing into the shape. And then from here, slowly rolling yourself all the way up one vertebra away from the next. All the way up to stand. Arms reach up alongside your ears. Lift up to tippy toe. Look over your right shoulder. Look over your left shoulder. Yes, I'm still on tippy toe. You're still on tippy toe. Hold here. Let the heels release. Let the hands release. Shoulders come up to the ears. Take an inhale. And thank you so much for joining. And I will see you next time.